Yeah, 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 come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are now 268 shopping days left until Christmas, and you know what that means. It means it's time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday movies and TV shows all year round. My name is Joseph Wade. I'll be your host for this evening. Here with me tonight is Mr. Bradford, back again.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, I'm just chilling out here in the early days of spring when all of my holiday cheer has just been kind of sapped from me. But you know what? The show must go on. Am I right?
Indeed.
How you doing, Bradford?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Not too.
Well, I think I just asked you that.
You did literally just ask me that, but I'll say it again. Not too shabby.
All right.
Johnny 5, the human robot, has been taken in for maintenance. We will see him again soon. But until then, tonight, it's going to be a two-hander, folks. Bradford and I are discussing the 2024 holiday action thriller, Carry On. Carry On? Carrion.
We will carry on without him.
We will carry on without him.
It's about a carry-on bag.
It is about a carry-on bag.
It is not about a pile of meat and refuse.
And it is not about carrying on after a tragedy, which I guess if they ever made a sequel, it would be. But we'll talk about that later. First things first, though, do we got a can check tonight?
Yeah, we do. All
right, so just, grip it and rip it, folks.
I already opened mine.
There we go.
All right. What are you working on?
Well, like I said, the holiday season is over. All my holiday beers are gone. So tonight I'm just working with a good old-fashioned, regular old Sam Adams Boston Lager.
Like beers in the rain. Hey, sometimes you got to go back to the classics to appreciate the seasonals,
That's right. Yeah, man, there's nothing wrong with a good old normal beer every once in a while. I like
just
a Sam Adams.
normal brewski.
To be perfectly honest, back last Halloween, I bought a giant pack of the Halloween fall Sam Adams beers, and there were 4 Boston lagers in there. So this is one of those.
This is from last fall. It's an autumnal beer.
Yes, we've gotten rid of all the Christmas beers, so we're going back even further, friends. That's how often I buy beer. Bradford, how about yourself?
I have an Atlas Brewworks Blood Orange Gosa.
Ooh, I do love me a Gosa.
It is brewed with pink Himalayan salt.
And
it's from nearby. It's a local brew.
Nice.
And it smells very good.
Nice.
Can't wait to get into it. And it's bubbling away like a witch's brew. Oh.
Lovely. So
highly drinkable.
Highly drinkable. That's the highest compliment you can pay a beer.
A beer
on this podcast. It is
drinkable.
Highly drinkable. We drink a lot of garbage here, folks.
We watch a lot of garbage too. But
so yeah, they go hand in hand. But tonight is a very special occasion because it's one of those rare good movies we let ourselves watch. I feel like I'm not, spoiling the end of this podcast by saying so.
No, I mean, this movie was pretty well regarded by a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
By people whose opinion is worth caring about, I suppose.
Right.
It's not going to knock your socks off, but solid little film, this.
I feel like the state of Netflix streaming originals is such that when something sneaks in and is actually pretty good, it surprises a lot of people.
Yes.
And that may be what's going on here. But, it's, Carry On has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. So most critics liked it.
Yeah. I mean, just with Netflix, almost always you're expecting second screen slop these days.
Look,
or a very expensive movie that is also very not good. I'm talking about, of course, about The Electric State.
The newest, most expensive film ever made. Yes.
Is it really the most expensive film ever made?
I don't think it's like the most, but it's definitely like way up there, like in the $300-400 million range.
That's so silly.
It's
what a silly bunch of people.
You know, I want to touch on this real quick because I've been watching a lot of Community lately, and I've been seeing the Russo's names pop up on that show a lot. And it's just crazy to me how these guys used to be like, you know, quirky, weird TV dudes. And now they're just.
Now they've made one of the most expensive films ever put to cellulose or digital.
Yeah, digital. Because, yeah, they wouldn't dare mess with celluloid, Brad. Cellulose is
a cell thing, right? That's like human cells.
Yeah, cellulose. Cellulose is what
plant matter
is, right? What collects around your thighs, I thought.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I thought that was cellulite.
See, it's all the same.
Somebody who's good at science, explain this to us.
Yes, please.
Celluloid is the one I'm looking for, though.
Yes, real actual film stock, which I'm fairly certain the Electric State did not use. But yeah,
right.
It's like
right.
And then also you have to consider, like, well, the Avengers movies, like, you know, Endgame, Infinity War, fairly well regarded, fairly well liked, but I feel like that was just a case of like, well, they had people telling them where to go and what to do and how to get there. So these guys are just the guys driving the bus, right?
Yeah.
So then you give them $300 million and say, let's go make your own thing. They don't know what the fuck to do with that. Hence a movie where an animatronic Mr. Peanut becomes the Abraham Lincoln of the robots.
You know, it's based on like an art book, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Which is the weirdest part of it. I'm sure somebody could make something good from it. I mean, there was there's a decent, I think there's a tabletop RPG based on it that's supposedly pretty okay, but
yeah.
So yeah, it's this movie did not take notes from that.
I mean, if anything, if nothing else, it makes me want to go and find that graphic novel, like go and read the book. So good on you, Netflix, for making me want to go read.
I don't even think it's a graphic novel. I thought it was just like I think it's a book of just like concept art.
Maybe, like, my very brief Google search just brought up the word graphic novel, so I'm just rolling with it.
Oh,
so
maybe.
I don't know. You know as much as I do, sir. But yeah, I mean, I want to go check that out. For nothing else, it looks neat. Let's say that. Let's be nice. Let's be nice and say it looks neat.
Oh no, the source material. That's why half of the reason this is so disappointing is the source material was kind of cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, really. But speaking of looking neat, but also being cool, Carry On is a movie that's out there that we're going to talk about tonight, because guess what? This is very much a Christmas movie. And we could talk about that because
we're
allowed to. This is what we do. But also 90% of this movie could have taken place on any other day.
Yeah, you're right.
But that 10% makes all the difference.
It sure does. For the $5 million they spent on licensing the 3 big Christmas songs in this movie make all the difference.
Absolutely. You get, we'll talk about the plot here in a minute, but like you get some Christmas trees, you get some Christmas lights, and a movie that is pretty much Die Hard, you know?
You get some Christmas jokes.
Yeah.
People are cracking wise about it being the holidays. You get your lovely, there has to be a name for this, somewhat gruesome action scene set over very like lackadaisical Christmas music.
Yeah. There's got to be that. Like I feel like TV Tropes has figured that out, but I'm not going to go to TV Tropes to find out.
We're not doing that.
No.
We're going to come up with our own name, which is gruesome fight scene set over very lackadaisical Christmas music.
Dig that acronym. But yeah, so let's just, I guess, start at the beginning. This comes from French director Jean Colette Serra, Spanish director, excuse me, who has done a handful of like really interesting sort of thrillers and action movies. If you've ever seen The Shallows, that's kind of my favorite of his. Have you seen The Shallows, Brad?
I've not.
Basically, girl goes out surfing. There's sharks in the water. She finds herself trapped on a rock in the middle of the shore, the surf, and various people try to save her, and she has to save herself. But I don't even know how to describe it beyond that. It's just a really great like what do you do in this situation type of thriller.
I hope she made it out okay.
Yeah. I want to say they made a sequel, but I'm not sure.
The Shallower.
The Even Shallower.
The Even Shallower.
Oh man. But yeah, so this is
did he do Les Cousins Dangereux?
No, but I'm sure that would have been a wonderful erotic action thriller if he had.
You see where I'm going with this.
It
works two ways because the guy's name is Sarah.
Those French people, I like the way they think.
And then Jason Bateman is in this film.
Yeah, that's something we can talk about. Oh man.
Did you have any other films from this gentleman you wanted to touch on, or did I steal your thunder?
Not really, but the two big misses on his resume are the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock and the Black Adam and the Black Adam movie also with The Rock.
I'm a little surprised Mr. Johnson didn't show up in this one, but he probably thought two was enough. Two misses was enough.
Two misfires
was not going to be the charm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So instead of Mr. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, we get Taron Egerton, who among other things, is the star of the Kingsman movies, played Elton John in the Elton John biopic. Pretty good actor, but also like a very unassuming sort of like straight face kind of blank slate of a person.
He's a Matt Damon type, really.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He's a Matt Damon type.
At least when he's in an action film, I would say.
Like you want to see him succeed, but he's definitely got kind of an attitude about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So his character is named Ethan, and he's a TSA agent, and it's Christmas Eve at LAX, the busiest travel day of the year. And unbeknownst to him, there is a terrorist plot about to unfold at the airport because an unknown individual known only as the Traveler has set fire to a florist in Los Angeles, has hired someone to smuggle a chemical bomb through TSA and is intending to set it off on a flight.
Yes, that's correct.
The long and short of it. And
that's the broad strokes.
And in order to pull this off, he basically hijacks a TSA agent, doesn't really want it to be Ethan, our main character, but has to just kind of roll with it. And, puts the bug in his ear, tells him what to do, tells him how to basically sneak this bomb through security. And oh boy, this guy's conscience is doing backflips throughout the first half of this movie.
Yes,
it's very tense and very like well like staged and constructed.
Yeah,
I appreciate
it's
this.
They're basically holding his wife hostage.
Yeah,
because there's another person on this team. It's a team of what we come to find out is two people.
Right.
He's got somebody in a van with a sniper rifle who's basically threatening his wife's life.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it his girlfriend? I don't know.
It's kind of vague, but I feel like it's his girlfriend. But
whatever.
Either way,
his beau,
his baby mama,
his significant other, and we find out in the very opening scene that she is also expecting.
Yes. So there are some good stakes set up right away.
Yes. So through happenstance, Ethan is not supposed to be the one running. So he's running the luggage scanner.
Right.
You know the luggage scanner. If you live in any country with any sort of security theater, you know the luggage scanner. He's on the luggage scanner, and this man, this disembodied voice, who is Jason Bateman, is basically telling him somebody's going to come through with what is very clearly a weapon in a suitcase, and you just need to ignore it.
Just let it go.
And if you let it go, Nora,
Right.
she is also at the airport. She's a manager for what is called Northwind Airlines.
Yeah, one of the airlines.
Nora will be safe, and then you can just go on about your business and pretend that nothing is happening.
Right.
And then there's also, there's this big sort of subplot about how this is a big, his life is basically a big series of plan Bs, and he's just coasting. And it's kind of an interesting dynamic, because the Traveler is kind of giving him the business, almost giving him like a sort of pep talk, like more than anything. Like he's debasing him a little bit, but he's also like, you needed to chin up, mister.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic.
It's a fun dynamic.
Yeah. I actually kind of, I want a tiny Jason Bateman whispering in my ear at all times.
I just want the Michael Bluth on my shoulder telling me what not to do at any given moment.
I got Michael Bluth on one shoulder, and I got Nick Wilde on the other, and they're dulcet tones and their sarcastic wisecracking just make my day all that much better.
And I love that, like 30 minutes into the film, they do the big dramatic reveal that it's Jason Bateman, even though it could not be more obvious that it's Jason Bateman.
It's Jason Bateman doing the Jason Bateman character and the Jason Bateman voice.
Right.
It is very clearly Jason Bateman.
And then like he what is it? He bumps into like one of the security officers that Ethan is trying to alert that there's something going on. He bumps into the guy, doses him with a drug to kill him, and as he turns around, like the camera zooms in on him, like that's the big reveal, like, oh, the villain is Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, even though you knew this from his voice and the trailer and the movie poster
and his name 30 seconds into the film.
right
But it's still like the reveal. The first thing I thought when I first watched this was like, oh, this is kind of like the logical endpoint of the Michael Bluth character, right? This is what happens to him after Arrested Development.
He has nothing left to lose.
His family has driven him to the point where he has become a mercenary killer for hire.
I'd really love for them to link this up, and it actually is. The Traveler is really Michael Bluth.
Because, like, I never watched the 5th season of Arrested Development, but I can't imagine it being any better than Carry On.
That's why. Yeah. Oh man, it's interesting how I'm just gonna link it up to video game chat. How he finds out that it is Jason Bateman.
Oh,
we're just gonna call him Jason Bateman now. He's not the Traveler. He's Jason Bateman.
Yeah, like the Traveler is such a silly name for, like, in my notes I just wrote villain until the captioning said, oh, the Traveler is speaking now, and I'm like, who the fuck is the Traveler? Oh, it's him.
Antagonist.
Yeah. But no, I was hoping you would bring this up because I loved this little detail. So Ethan, like, his whole thing is that he got kicked out of, or he got rejected from like police academy training for, something that he will reveal late in the film. But he's got the police academy like skills. Like he's very observant, and he knows how to like deduce things about people from just kind of watching and listening to them. And through the earpiece, he hears a specific video game in the background, and he sees that, like, oh, so the guy must be standing near the arcade. Brad, what's the arcade game?
It's Area 51.
Hell yeah, it's Area 51.
Alongside other such bangers as Centipede and Asteroids, and I could not catch the one that was closest to the bar.
Yeah, I didn't study it close enough, but I did catch at least Centipede and Area 51.
The marquee is somebody's blocking it, and it's a little muddy.
Right. And if this was the early days of our podcast, we would definitely spend 30 minutes trying to deduce what game this was. But we have things to do.
We have a movie to talk about, so we're being responsible.
Right. But I love that it's Area 51.
You played much Area 51?
Oh, hell yeah, I played Area 51. I played it every day for 2 years. I know that game in my sleep.
I want to say there was an Area 51 in our hometown's airport arcade, which was outside of security.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that arcade?
Very briefly,
It was off. It was like in the middle of the terminal, on the outside, so you could just park your car and go into it, and it was like a weird little secluded room with glass windows facing to the outside, and then they maybe had 6 or 8 arcade cabinets. I remember one of them was Atari Tetris, because my dad and I used to go and play Atari Tetris there.
Nice. When
we were waiting for stuff, sometimes we had to go pick up packages from the airport or whatever.
Okay.
Or we were waiting to pick somebody up, and we would go there to kill time beforehand. I miss stuff like that.
I do. It's so rare that you even see arcade games in airports anymore. I guess LAX is the last place you would even find those.
I'm trying to think. I think the most recent one that I saw was there's a Galaga in Vale Eagle Airport, and that was 6 years ago.
Huh.
I want to say.
Okay.
That's the last time I ever saw one.
I vaguely remember seeing, a where the arcade space would be, but it had been decommissioned and everything had been taken out, but the signs were still up.
Oh, that's sad.
And then that's just the state of arcades, in the U.S. at this point. So
when everybody has a phone capable of playing any number of games, it's the natural progression of things. Unfortunate as it is.
That's true. My big memory of Area 51 though has nothing to do with arcades at all.
Okay.
At one point when I was a teenager, my dad brought home a video projector that he had gotten from work, and that he was supposed to be working up a presentation on. But of course, my brother and I just plugged it up to our computer and pointed it at the ceiling, and we had the Area 51 on a CD-ROM. So you better believe we played Area 51 on the ceiling for hours.
On the ceiling, so you're laying on your backs playing it.
Yeah, and we've just got the mouse and the keyboard, and we're just shooting away at the aliens and stuff, just kind of staring up at the ceiling.
That's fun.
And I remember all the aliens in that game looked like the Toxic Avenger.
Oh yeah.
But that was just kind of the 1995 digital graphics kind of vibe of it all. But
yes.
Yeah, so that's the game that our hero identifies and is able to pinpoint where Jason Bateman is in the almost called it the mall, in the airport terminal.
The mall. Okay. Yes. So we actually do have a B plot in this movie.
Okay.
And that is the detective.
Oh yeah.
What is her name?
Elena.
Again, Elena. She is LAPD, I guess, detective.
Yeah.
And she was tasked with investigating the greenhouse that blew up, the murder arson, double homicide arson,
the florist shop / Christmas tree shop / I guess greenhouse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that leads her down a path where these two guys that got killed are part of the Russian mob. And one of them was wearing a bug, like an ATF bug.
Like a wire, in his watch.
Yeah. And then she comes to find out that somebody basically killed them to take away their neurotoxin. And it leads her down a path to the point where she realizes what's going on. And there's an attempt on her life where a fake Department of Homeland Security agent, he's basically faking being DHS. And then tries to kill her, and there's this kind of gnarly one-shot action scene with Last Christmas playing in the background.
Yes.
It's kind of a fun set piece, honestly.
It's a great sequence. Like, so first of all, like the fake ATF agent is played by Logan Marshall Green, who is the guy that you hire when you can't afford Tom Hardy. Because
we have Tom Hardy at home.
We have Tom Hardy at home. It's Logan Marshall Green. But also, yeah, like you said, like it's like a one-shot sort of panorama around the inside of the car between the driver and the passenger as they're, fighting and trying to duke it out and shoot each other.
Duking it out, shoot each other, choke each other, and run the car into stuff.
Yeah, and Last Christmas is playing on the radio, and man, I know it's just kind of a tacked on kind of it's a little bit hokey, but it works.
It's a little on the nose, and it's been done, but in this instance, I'm willing to give it a pass because it's a pretty good sequence.
Right. But also, like, I remember when this came out in like December of last year. And are you familiar with the game Whamageddon?
Oh, is it you go as long as possible until you not intentionally, but end up hearing Last Christmas like over a PA system or on the radio?
Yeah, like you try to see how long you can get into December before you somehow, some way hear Last Christmas. And so like,
and you will.
And I remember Nikki and I play this game every year now. And I heard that there was a scene where a fight scene takes place to Last Christmas. I was like, okay, so we can't watch this until either after Christmas or until we lose Whamageddon. And fortunately I lost it like the next day.
Where did you lose it?
Oh, I was just driving. I got in my car one morning and I turned the car on, and literally the first thing out of the radio was Last Christmas.
That's your first mistake right there.
Oh, I know. Like, the thing with that game is you're committed to it in the first like week or two of December, but by like the 15th or 16th, you just say, "Fuck it, I want to hear some Christmas music. I'm turning it on, damn it," and you just roll the dice.
Yeah,
that's how I play it anyway. Like, I get really into it for about 2 weeks and then say, you know what, this is depriving me of my Christmas cheer.
Fair enough.
Oh boy.
Cool. So she eventually makes it to. She's the one who kind of actually. Ethan's unable to sound the alarm, even though he's tried to multiple times. So she is the one who eventually shows up with the authorities who are going to mount this response. And the Traveler, aka Jason Bateman, does his level best in order to head this off in multiple ways. So he gets upset because Ethan gets called into a meeting after all of the cops show up because they're going to do like a random screen of passengers that have already passed TSA.
Right.
And Ethan is able to palm. He gets one of like the units, the Palm Pilots, I guess, the smartphones, and then he's able to scan in his boss's credentials and swap out the passenger manifest of the passengers that have been randomly selected for the guy he knows that brought the case through security.
Right. Yeah. This is very clever, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, a couple of times he's been clever. Earlier in the movie, he gets a Tide pen.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have like all the agents and the cops get black lights because there are counterfeit boarding passes going around. And he writes out a note with the Tide pen on the boarding pass and then passes it to the cop to get him to look at it with the blacklight pen because he says it's a counterfeit.
Right.
Very clever stuff.
Very clever.
However, Bluth is on to him.
He catches on to this very quickly. Tries to, quote unquote, teach him a lesson by
murdering his cop friend.
Murdering the cop friend in a very sneaky way where he slices his skin with a toxin that basically stops his heart.
Right.
It's like very spy game kind of shit.
Right, yes. Anyways, back to the manifest. He gets so the passenger gets pulled into an inspection room, but not before basically murdering his boss, but we come to find out that this guy is being used too.
Right.
This has his husband being held hostage in the back of the van.
Right. This is Mateo. This is Mateo.
Mateo, yes.
And so he and Ethan then kind of have to work together to make sure that the case gets to like the baggage handling area to get onto the flight before Jason Bateman shows up to kill both of them.
Both of their loved ones and or them.
Yes.
However, we get a little spycraft going on here. We get a little Portal 2 situation where he says, Ethan, if you're listening to this, ignore this. Mateo, hello. No, I'm kidding. He switches his phone over to just talking to Mateo, and it's like, don't say anything, just listen to me. Kill Ethan.
Right.
And they've got Ethan managed to like punch out the Traveler and steal a plastic gun, like a 3D printed gun from him.
Yeah, the plastic gun.
But now Mateo has it. But it's a plastic gun, so don't you go firing it too many times too quickly now, my friends, or it will melt.
It will melt and backfire and blow up in your face, which is exactly what it does.
Exactly, and what happens kills to Mr. Mateo.
Which I'm laughing, but like it's a gag, but like damn, it kills this poor guy.
Yeah, Mateo's a tragic figure. He didn't want any of this either, but he's willing to do whatever it takes to save his husband.
Yeah.
So who among us?
Yeah.
Anyhow.
But yeah, it leads to like a really fun kind of fist fight / shootout in like the baggage handling kind of warehouse section of the airport.
Right?
Yeah.
That's also a very fun set piece. And makes me think about when I was a kid, I saw the episode of Rugrats where they were in the baggage sorting thing, and I wanted to go on the baggage sorting thing. Still kind of want to go on the baggage sorting thing.
Of course. Who among us wouldn't?
Yes.
But this was like definitely the point in the movie where I'm like, oh, this is out Die Hard 2ing Die Hard 2 with, the shootouts in the baggage handling area rather, where,
yeah,
I mean, I could go on a rant about how this is a better Die Hard 2 than Die Hard 2, but I feel like that's just kind of obvious. If you watch Carry On, you get it. But they take the idea of like a clever terrorist trying to take over and pull off a job at an airport, and they go so far into like how many different little clever setups you can get, and it's just like one after the other, and it's just relentless. I love that about this. Like there's really no downtime in this movie at all, because it's like one ridiculous situation after the next. Like it's not enough for Ethan and Mateo to have to sort of fake their way through a security screening. They also have to like disarm the bomb that Michael Bluth has armed just to prove a point. And Michael Bluth has to walk him through how to disarm the bomb over the phone.
Right.
Which,
yes,
that's not one point. That's not going to come into play later.
Yeah, because at one point, when Ethan and Michael Bluth are in the bathroom together, this is the same scene where he punches him out and holds him up with his own plastic gun.
Right.
Michael Bluth's all right. He's just like, okay, well, he just arms the bomb, and he's like, okay, it's just going to go off in the airport and kill a couple thousand people rather than a couple hundred. So, yeah, he has to disarm the bomb, and surely this won't come into play later in this movie.
Right. I love when movies do this, where they set up, it's the Chekhov's gun thing. Like you set up a situation that's going to have to come back later, and they're going to play it in, and they're going to twist it somehow. And so of course that's what happens at the end of the movie.
It's like in video games where they give you the easy version first, and then they give you a little bit of twist. You got to do it now while chain chomps are falling out of the sky. Except this time you're in the cargo hold of a plane. Should we get to the last act of this movie?
Let's just do it, because Elena's storyline and Nathan's storyline finally collide, and she thinks he's in on the terrorist plot, but no, he's the only person who actually knows what's going on and trying to stop it.
We didn't talk about how he did his best friend so dirty, but he had to save his life.
Oh, right, he did, because Ethan wasn't supposed to be on the scanner, so his best friend was on the scanner, so they put Jason back on the scanner, so
No, Jason. Oh yeah,
they put
his
Jason
friend
back on the
Jason.
scanner, and Michael Bluth has to call back in to Ethan and say, "Hey, you got to find some way, do something to get that guy off, and
I'm going to kill him."
Not get that guy off like you're thinking, but like get him out of there.
Yes,
get him out of that seat.
Get back on the machine, or I'm going to kill this man who is currently in the machine, aka your best friend.
Right. So he pulls this little scheme where he sneaks into the break room, steals a couple of bottles of rum.
Rum is not in the break room. It is in a gift shop. But yes, continue.
Well, yeah, he sneaks through the back hallways of the airport to like open a secret panel that's in the back room of the duty free shop.
By the way, I'm like 99.9% sure they don't sell airplane bottles at the airport.
I don't know.
Because there's a big, like, every time you get on a plane, they're like, by the way, if you brought any alcohol with you, you cannot drink it by law. So that kind of defeats the purpose of airplane bottles, right?
Yeah, I mean...
Or maybe it's one of those things where nobody really gives a shit. And they just have to say that. I don't know.
Maybe so, or maybe it really was just like, you know what, we need a way to get alcohol into this guy's system some way. Just fucking put him there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like any duty free shop I've ever been to, you buy like the big pack that has to go into your bag, your checked bag before you get on the plane.
You buy the big Toblerone.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to put it in your carry-on. Hey, that's the name of this movie.
That's the name of the movie.
All right. Oh. There's one other really clever thing that happens.
Hang on. Let's finish the one clever thing first, and then we'll go into the second.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Basically, yeah. He doses Jason's coffee with the little airline bottles, puts the coffee in front of him, and then has Jason Bateman go over and inform his boss that like, hey, I think that guy's drinking on the job, and they take Jason out and they put Ethan back in. You know, wham bam. Thank you, sir. So then, okay, what's the next thing that you wanted to mention?
Sorry, now we're back on the carry-on thing, and we're back to the third act of the movie. Now that we've jumped back. So, after Mateo dies, rips, Jason Bateman goes back to like the luggage sorting area to get his carry-on back, right?
The Jason basement, if you will.
The Jason basement to get the. I can't. I got nothing. Anyways, excuse me. He goes to get his carry-on, right? And we see Ethan looking around, and we're like, okay, he's gonna pull a switcheroo. Right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. There's like no payoff immediately, right? You think he's gonna switch out the bomb, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't switch out the bomb.
He doesn't do that. No.
Come to find out, he switches out the suitcase for a slightly larger but mostly identical suitcase. So when Jason Bateman goes to get on the plane, it doesn't fit in the overhead compartment.
Yes.
Don't you just love to see it?
Just mildly inconveniencing.
Mildly inconveniencing this terrorist. I love it. That might be actually my favorite like feather touch thing in this entire movie.
But it's also like it's part of the plan because like he's got to find a way to get it into the baggage, you know, the baggage hold so that he can sneak onto the plane and then disarm it himself. Like that's the whole plan.
However, this is where the one thing this movie did that irked me.
Okay.
Just delay the fucking plane like 5 minutes. Let him get into the cargo hold and throw the fucking case out onto the tarmac. Then have the plane take off and have bomb control take care of the case. Right? That's how any sensible person would play it. Correct?
Yeah, you're right. Because like you throw it onto the tarmac where there's like literally nobody around.
Out in open air, even if it goes off, it's out on a tarmac. It'll be
disperse
okay.
quickly enough. Yeah.
Anyways.
Fair enough.
But this is an action movie, so we gotta have a more satisfying payoff than this.
So we gotta have the scene where he chases down the airplane in the baggage car.
In the fucking belt. You gotta watch for hop-ons.
You're gonna get hop-ons.
Yeah, in that like belt car thing.
Yeah.
And then manages to hop into the into the plane.
See,
he's in the belly of the plane.
That would have just been like the icing on the cake if Michael Bluth sees him in the baggage hold and he's just like, ugh, fucking hop-ons.
Yeah, I mean, they showed great restraint by not making any Arrested Development jokes whatsoever. Good job.
Because we're making them all for them. So, I mean, that's the thing. They know you're making them all in your head anyway.
Yes, exactly.
That's the sign of a quality motion picture, I guess.
I will say this.
Yes.
Jason Bateman actually makes a really good villain in this movie, I think.
It's kind of disarming because like you're so used to seeing him be like the straight man in a comedy, but then you just twist that character just a little bit and now all of a sudden he's very menacing. And
it works. It's like really it's really believable. He's like the cold, cynical mercenary, right?
Yeah. And yeah, that's his thing. Like he doesn't have an agenda. He's not doing this for any reason. He's literally just being paid to set off this bomb.
Yes.
And then that gets us into like the late third act reveal of why any of this is happening whatsoever. which is kind of like a little bit of a letdown, honestly, because it doesn't really matter. But like they're watching on a TV and they're like, oh, there's a congresswoman on one of the planes and she's going to Washington D.C. to announce her bill to like limit defense contractors and their war profiteering, and so obviously they're gonna kill her for that.
Oh yeah, and I do take it back. I forgot there is actually a third person on this team. Now that you mentioned that, there's that punk girl.
Oh yeah,
she's like the supplier, and she's the one who gives him the earbud at the beginning of the movie.
That's right. Yeah.
She gives him the earbud, and then at some point late in the film, Jason Bateman's like, okay, I got to go on the plane myself. Give me a supply drop, and it's a parachute in a backpack because he's gonna put it on himself, and then parachute out of the plane before it goes off.
Right. So he gets the parachute and he gets like the ticket to get on the plane.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Also that's also important.
But so like, yeah, I guess I feel like the motive wasn't really that necessary because, I mean, the immediate threat's fine is good enough. You know?
It doesn't matter who the customer is, so to speak, in this case.
And there's even a MacGuffin too, where there's like 4 Marines that are wandering through the airport because they're also going to DC to
that hearing or whatever
to testify on some other completely unrelated hearing, but like it's sort of a misdirect.
Right.
Like, you don't need that, but
it's
okay.
nothing. Like
it's nothing.
I barely paid it. Like I couldn't have told you anything about that little red herring. But
if anything, it's just like 1 or 2 little things too many in this movie. Yeah. Because I mean, we're coming around to the, I guess, crankometer where we're gonna say like, yeah, this is a pretty good little movie, but like, it's such a good movie of like individual scenes that like they don't need to do things like this, but then they do it anyway, and it just feels a little too much.
Right. Yeah. I would say that's maybe the movie's cardinal misstep. Maybe.
But even then, like it's such small
fine.
Potatoes. Yeah.
We're nitpicking, really.
We really are. I mean, that's our job to pick at some nits, but like no big deal. Yeah, that's. I mean,
he disarms the bomb. Jason Bateman goes down in the cargo hold to confront him, and he seals him in like a freezer. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's like a refrigerator for, I guess,
cold stuff on
cold
the plane,
sensitive packages.
Yeah. Or, it's, you know what? It's probably for like. I would figure they would have these on cargo planes more than passenger planes, but it's probably for like medical samples and stuff.
That's kind of what I figured. Yeah.
Yeah. So he pulls the canister of gas out of the thing and then traps the traveler in the freezer and then throws down the bottle and like holds it shut while he chokes on his own fluids.
Yeah, basically just bleeds out right in front of you. But it's also like the most tense little moment in the film because he's trying to hold him in the freezer. Yeah. Because if he breaks out, like everybody dies because that gas is going everywhere. And it's so dramatic.
It is very dramatic.
And the plane lands and Ethan is immediately arrested, but then Elena shows up and is like, no, let this guy go. He saved everybody's asses. And kind of tells him, you would make a good cop someday. And
hey, the rest is history.
Cut to several months later, he and his lady are on a plane trip to Tahiti,
which is also mentioned right at the beginning of the movie,
right.
Which I knew by the end of the movie they were going to have a scene of them like going either in Tahiti or going to Tahiti.
Right. And also, he's best buds with Jason. Jason, kind of forgives him for that little trespass earlier.
You know how it is. And then there's the other TSA agent who has it out for him a little bit.
Yeah.
And they give each other like the nod. So it's like very like everything's closed up, nice and tidy.
And the last thing that he does before the film ends, he throws that last little item in the bag check bin, his brand new shiny LAPD badge.
I did it, Ma. I did it, Dad.
Top of the world.
Top of the world, Ma.
I'm a pig.
Dude, we got there. All right.
But then it takes us out onto the credits to what else but baby, Christmas Baby Please Come Home by Darlene Love.
Yes. Isn't that also the beginning opening credits?
No, the beginning credits is Bruce Springsteen doing Santa Claus is coming to town.
Yeah. Santa Claus is coming to town.
So we'll talk about this here.
Three.
Yeah, this is the big three in just a second. We'll go to the crankometer because I do want to talk about that.
Okay.
Crankometer, friends, if you're not familiar, is our patented XY axis for rating Christmas movies. The X axis is how Christmassy a film is, go -5 to +5. And then the Y axis, also -5 to +5, is how good a film is. So, Bradford, I ask you, how Christmassy is Carry On? And I guess we can jump straight into talking about those three songs.
Pretty kinda Christmassy.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people associate like really annoying travel and places like airports with Christmas.
Yeah.
For some people, that's the only time they travel is around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that association is maybe worth almost a point. And then we get some decent, somewhat restrained use of Christmas music and Christmas decorations, I would say.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's kind of on the level of like a Shane Black film where like it's just good background scenery.
Yes.
But it's not intrusive.
And like you said before, this could have conceivably taken place on another high volume travel day, 4th of July weekend, whatever.
Right.
Sure. But it's Christmas, baby.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2 or a 3, I think.
I'm with you there. I think I don't want to give it any higher than a 3, but I think a 3 is definitely kind of warranted. Like part of me wants to be really cynical and say that the Christmas stuff was just kind of a Netflix add-on because like we need to
pump the SEO and have a Christmas action movie out this year for this quarter.
Exactly. Yes.
And yes, that's the cynical play, I think. And I think it's definitely part of why it is a Christmas movie.
Right.
But I think they understood the assignment and rolled with it and did a pretty good job of working it in when they did. There was also the tech guy at the LAPD who's Jewish, but his wife won't let him buy, like she won't buy Christmas sweets. So his payment for doing the like fixing the bug is a box of peppermint ho-hos. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was a good touch. Yeah,
that was a nice little bit.
But I think you're right. They understood the assignment's the best way to put it. Like they weave it into the film in interesting ways and in like relevant ways.
And it's not ham-fisted like Anna and the Apocalypse was.
Right.
Like it's not in your face. It threads the needle, I guess.
But it's also like kind of weaved into like Ethan's character because like early on we're told that like, oh, he's really not a fan of Christmas.
Yeah.
And even like the traveler, and Michael Bluth even like rags him for like, William, what do you got against Christmas? It's a time for family, and Michael Bluth knows a thing or two about family.
He does. He certainly does.
It's the most important thing after breakfast. But I think this movie weaves it in better than most that we've seen.
Yes.
You know,
agreed.
Like, hell, even the last thing we watched, Golden Winter, was less Christmassy than this. Intentionally so.
It really was, wasn't it?
It really was. So yeah, I'm happy giving this a 3. A solid, straight down the middle 3.
I think that's warranted.
And then now the y-axis, we have to gauge how good this film is. I'm fairly positive on this one. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like, scene to scene, I had a good time with it. I think it's very well constructed.
Yes.
And any problems I have are purely nitpicks.
It held my attention. It's a solid action film. It's got some good set pieces. The casting is pretty good. Jason Bateman's a really good antagonist, like we mentioned.
Yeah. And then one thing that I guess we can talk about real quick that when I was talking to Johnny Five, last week about this, the first question he asked me was like, how big of a bummer is this movie?
Not really.
I think, he was just not feeling a bummer, and he wanted to know, like, what am I getting myself into? And I feel like it stays pretty clear of some of that stuff. Like, it's not too grim.
Yeah, it's not like a rollicking, like, buddy film. Like, for example, A Good Day to Die Hard was recently. Like,
you mean Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's what I mean.
Okay.
I get all my Die Hards confused. The one with Samuel L. Jackson, okay?
Right.
The one we watched that was really good and fun. It doesn't reach those highs. It's not like an exuberant action film like some of those are.
Right.
But it's good. And it's not a bummer.
It's stylish enough and it's clever enough. It, like you said, it holds your attention, but it's not, I guess, too ostentatious.
We get a couple of what do we get? The total body count is what? 2 bad guys and 2 innocents by my count.
Yeah, so you get both bad guys. No, well, hang on.
The guy who's faking. No, wait. The guy who's faking being DHS, and of course Mr. Bluth himself. Both get killed, and then the TSA boss and Mateo get killed. I would count him as an innocent.
And the and Ethan's
and cop guy Leon. Lee. What is it?
His Leo.
Lionel.
Lionel. Yeah.
Lionel. Okay, so 3 innocents and two baddies. That's not too bad, all things considered.
Yeah, you're right. That's a fairly low body count, all things considered. Considering there's mass murder on the table.
Right. Yeah. And yeah.
But there's plenty of like ridiculous like things that any other film would treat as like really silly, but this one really just kind of leans into just
playing it straight.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that this movie does just play it straight, because like you don't see too many of those anymore. And I'll say it again, it's the best Die Hard like that we've had in a long time.
Die Hard type film. And you know what? There's a certain respect to that, because in our age of like cynicism, it's hard to do an action movie and play it straight and pull it off. And this movie does it.
It
right?
really does. Yeah. You know
because
what?
So many movies try to like pull their punches and do like the mugging at the camera, Joss Whedon Marvel joke shit. And this doesn't do that. And you know what? I respect it more for that. Good job.
Look, Chris Pratt can't be in every film, okay?
Right?
He's busy doing Garfield, and he's busy doing The Electric State, okay?
I am shocked he was not casted for the Minecraft movie. Shocked.
I'm shocked that Jason Momoa was. Honestly. But Jack Black, no, he fits right in like a glove. I want to give this a 4, honestly. I mean,
I can live with a 4. I think a 3, definitely a 3 or a 4. It's up there.
I was pretty up on this. Like when I first watched it in December, I really dug it. Watching it again today, I also just really dug it. And it is one of the better action movies I have seen in the last couple of years, and I want to highlight that. More people need to watch that. I mean, I say more people need to watch this, but apparently this was like the most watched Netflix movie
of December or something.
No, it's this is from Wikipedia. It says Carry On had the second most views ever on Netflix as of March of 2025.
Whoa! Out of everything,
apparently.
Or is that like the top trending whatever? Here's what's hot this week thing.
Honestly, this is literally judging from Netflix's own metrics. Like Netflix's most popular listings. It says all time number 1, Red Notice starring the fucking Rock. Number 2, Carry On.
See, that's why the Rock wasn't in this. He was busy doing Red One.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Well, good job, Carry On. You were a much better film than I thought you were going to be, because you had the stink of Netflix on you. But guess what? You pulled through.
Yeah, so, sometimes a winner squeaks through.
The fucking Glass Onion and Knives Out doesn't count.
Yeah, movies that Netflix buys and just puts out are different from the movies that Netflix actively produces.
Correct. They are exempt.
So yeah, that's Carry On, everybody. Hopefully, I don't know if I want a sequel to this, to be honest.
It doesn't need it.
It really doesn't.
Do it. It probably won't be as good as this, and they should let it. They should be content to rest on their laurels.
I think so too.
In this case,
I was gonna say, like, how can we, carry forward our plan of making a new Die Hard, but like I kind of feel like this one sort of did it, so we really can just take it easy this week. Maybe on our next episode we'll pitch a little bit more for Die Hard 64, but I want to say this pretty much slaked that thirst, if you will.
Yes.
So Carry On your crankometer is a +3, +4, friends. It's a good time. Crack open a couple of beers and just let Jason Bateman take you away.
This is dulcet tones in your little eardrums.
That's right, friends. So yeah, this is coming out at the beginning of April. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. We wish we had a joke planned for you, but it's really not the way we do things around here. It's more of a fly by the seat of our pants operation.
April Fool's Day has been ruined in pretty much every possible way already with the internet.
That's true.
So it's not a holiday anymore. You shouldn't consider it a holiday.
I want to plug something real quick before we go, in that my other podcast, the OST Party, is finally back with new episodes. We just did one on the movie Rad, which, as you can guess by the title, is a rad fucking movie.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's been too long. We took a long break, but we're finally back in the saddle, and we were both just like, man, why did we wait so long to do this again? But good. I want to just mention that because for the longest time I've had an idea for an April Fool's prank for OST Party, and I know in my heart it's just never going to happen. So I want to just like get it out there and tell you about it now.
Put it out in the universe.
The universe. The April Fool's prank was going to be, we were going to release an episode on the movie Ready Player One.
Yeah.
Which is itself a ridiculous joke, but also like the gag was going to be every song on the soundtrack was going to be Jump by Van Halen, and we were going to talk about it and play the clip 20 times.
I feel like, oh man, it would take dedication to the bit, but if you could pull it off, it'd be one of those things where, it starts out kind of funny and then dips really into not funny, and then if you keep committing to the bit and ratcheting it would ratchet up.
Yeah,
it's one of those jokes where just through sheer force of will and repetition, you could probably make it kind of funny. But
yeah, it's one of those things where like 3 times is funny, 10 times is not funny, but 50 times is fucking hilarious.
Right, exactly.
Because like that movie, it does begin with Jump by Van Halen. Like that part's not the joke, but the joke would be like, oh, and then like the second fight scene happens, and the song that plays, guess what? It's Jump.
Jump.
Oh boy, maybe one of these days I'll pull that off, and everybody listening will just forget that I ever said this.
Yes.
But yeah, that's gonna do it for Christmas Creeps. Unless Brad, you want to talk about anything else right now?
Nope.
Video games you've been playing, or other TV you've been watching, or anything at all? What you got?
Tetris the Grandmaster 4 Absolute Eye comes out around the time that we release this, which has been 15 years coming, and I'm very excited for. First, they said it was happening. They previewed it at a couple of trade shows. Then basically it went away, and everybody assumed it wasn't happening for like 10 years.
Oh gosh.
And now it's releasing on Steam within a couple of days, and it's a very exciting time to be a TGMer. Sorry, that's way too nerdy.
No, that's perfect.
I haven't really been I've just been mostly reading.
That's fair.
I finished Bad Blood recently. I had listened to the podcast that the author did way back when, but I finally got around to reading the actual book. Fascinating account.
What is Bad Blood?
It is about Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then right now I am reading The Great Beanie Baby Bubble, which is quite good as well.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously you lived in America in the 90s. You know about Beanie Babies and the Beanie Baby Bubble, but this is a full account of that.
Oh God.
From multiple perspectives, including like a bit of a history of Ty Warner, which I did not realize. He's something of a character, if you will, in many ways.
Oh, no.
I'll leave it at that.
All right.
And if you're interested, I would recommend it's a pretty breezy, but has been a good read so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess for my part, I've been trying to get more use out of my Audible account this year than I have recently. So I've been trying to listen to more audiobooks. And I just finished Brad Neely's farcical biography of Ulysses S. Grant.
Oh, how is that? I've been meaning to read that.
You really need the benefit of the audiobook because it's just
he narrates it, right? Or
he narrates
does the reading.
He does the audiobook himself, and it's just, if you've ever listened or ever watched any of his cartoons, like Professor Brothers, China, Illinois, any of that stuff,
or seen Wizard People,
or seen or heard Wizard People, it's that voice for like 12 hours, and you're either on board with that or you're not.
Does he do any voices for like other people?
Yes, he does.
Oh, okay. I'm sold. I have to do that. I have to listen to this.
Like, my very brief like sort of summary of it is like, it's Ulysses S. Grant grew up on a farm, and his parents sent him to West Point to learn to be a soldier, and then he kind of from there became a general and then president of the United States. But as Brad Neely tells it, it's the sad, pathetic story of a poor horse boy whose parents shipped him off to murder school.
Okay. All right. So it's Brad Neely. Basically.
It's 1,000,000% Brad Neely, and I highly recommend it.
Okay. Definitely going to put that on my listen list. Audiobook first. The book I'm sure is fine, but like the audiobook's A+. Nah, it's got to be the audiobook. Yeah. For some reason it hadn't even occurred to me that there was going to be an audiobook version that he would read. Like, I had it in my list of books to buy, but now that I think about it, it has to be the audiobook. It's gotta be. My only complaint with it is that it does end like at the end of the Civil War. Okay. So like it's kind of the story of Grant going through the Civil War, but on a cliffhanger. Nobody knows what happened after that. No, I mean history is shrouded in secrecy, and who among us can say? Yes. All right. We're gonna wrap things up tonight, folks. Thank you so much for listening to this ridiculous episode of Christmas Creeps. Go check out Carry On if you have Netflix. It's well worth a watch. We definitely would recommend that and all the other things that we've talked about. If you want to get at us anyway on the internet, we're on all the socials at Christmas Creeps. You can email us at xmascreeps@gmail.com. Or if you really want to talk to us, go to our Discord channel and sign up for that. The link will be in our show notes, where we will talk more about books. We'll talk more about video games and all kinds of fun, nerdy stuff, because, it never stops. It never, ever stops. Am I forgetting anything? No, I think that's it.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for listening, friends. I have been Joseph Wade.
I'm Bradford.
Creep it real, y'all, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Have a good night.
If you're lost in a zone or you're sinking like